Hi there, I'm Chris for Tippy Club Gaming, and I've been asked by TT Combat to provide some painting tutorials for the new Rumbleslam team, Purloined Puissance. It's the latest team joining Diamond Oasis, and I'm going to show you how to paint the Fat Cat. In this video, I'll be using these paints. Some of these paints are from my own collection, and some have been kindly provided to me by TT Combat. Begin with Halfling Pastry Brown to base coat Fat Cat's fur. Thin the paint down a little to help the paint flow nicely and not obscure the details. Once it's dry, we can paint further layers until the colour is nice and strong. Don't worry about being too neat because we can tidy everything up later. Thin down some sienna wash with thinning medium and apply this over all the fur areas. It will settle into the recesses of the model and give us some nice shading, but don't let the wash pool on the model or we'll get a poor finish when it dries. Just wick it away with a clean brush if it does start to pool up. Leave the wash to dry completely before applying more if you feel you need to. Using Venetian tan, we'll highlight the fur. Thin the paint down a little and focus on areas where the light hits the model. Allow the paint to dry before adding more to strengthen the colour. You can create a bit of a blend if you paint less area of the highlight with each layer. It won't be as smooth as a glaze, but it can create an interesting change in tone. With Adriatic skin, we can get a top highlight of the brown fur. Using small strokes you can create a highlight that looks like it's hitting some of the hairs, but not others, like you would see on an actual cat. You don't have to go overboard with this, just hitting those highest areas of the model. Now we'll add some white fur to this fat cat. With Strigwa flesh, we'll paint in where we want the white fur to be. I went with the belly and chest, toes, front paws, and on the muzzle. If you want to have this blend into the brown fur, use small strokes around the edges of the blocked in colour. Using thinning medium and raw linen, I make a glaze, although a glaze medium is available from TT Combat. I use 3 drops of medium and 1 drop of raw linen. Now we'll glaze the highlight onto the white fur areas. It's a slow build-up of colour, but it blends incredibly well. Your first few layers won't look like it's doing anything, but keep at it. Leave each layer to dry before doing the next, and paint less area with each layer. Finish your stroke where you want the colour to be strongest, because when you lift the brush, it leaves the most pigment there. The top highlight for the white fur is a 50-50 mix of raw linen and white. Using small strokes, paint the highest areas of all of the white fur areas. If you need to apply more areas to brighten the fur up, allow each layer to dry before adding more. Now, what is a tabby without their stripes? Using Halfling Pastry Brown, thin slightly, give your cat some stripes. They don't need to be straight or symmetrical, but what I'd suggest is painting an M on the forehead and a few little lines next to the eyes. These are traits that tabby cats all have, no matter the pattern on their bodies. To paint the eyes, we'll start by blocking them in with marsh green. Paint the entirety of the eyes. Cats have large irises, so it won't look out of place. Due to the size of the eyes, we'll add a small highlight with succulent green. I just add a small circle of succulent green in the top right of the eyes, but that's just my preference. While the eyes are drying, we can paint the nose and the ears using rumble skin. Ensure your brush has a nice point on it, particularly for painting the nose. We want to avoid getting any on the areas we've already painted. Using black, we can paint the pupils on the eyes. I find it easier to paint the model's left eye first, then hold the model upside down for the right eye. In this clip, he comes off the screen because I need it to be in a bit more of a comfortable position for that eye, so sorry about that. The pupils can be small slits, rather than circles, because of how a cat's pupil dilates. Just focus on getting them looking ahead. Base coat the shirt with capo red. There are a couple of sneaky bits of shirt that are easily missed. The bottom of the shirt at the front, and on his back there's some ovals where the jacket is stretched. Then there's the collar, which you can easily see. Mix some thin and medium into red wash and apply it over all of the red areas we painted before. Try to keep the wash off of the fur. I find when the wash has got the thin and medium in it, it gives you a bit more control over how the wash flows. Once the wash dries, we can highlight the red areas with Viscera red. Focus on the high points of the shirt and the folds in the material. On the back, I just add a dot of Viscera red to the top of each area. We'll give Fat Cat a purple waistcoat. Base coat with Vexing purple. Make sure you use a couple of thin coats to get a nice strong colour. Highlight the waistcoat with Resplendent purple. Again, focus your painting on the tops of areas and folds in the material. Mix thin and medium and purple wash together to get a nice wash we can control easily. Apply this over all of the purple areas, being careful not to get any of it on the fur or reds. After the wash has dried, use some more Resplendent purple to re-establish the highlights, focusing on less area than the last highlight. We want to have that extra tone underneath. For the tie, we'll base coat it with Spotlight Yellow. This is such a good base coat in yellow. I highly recommend it. Thin down some umber wash with thinning medium and apply this over the tie. Go back with Spotlight Yellow after the wash has dried. Apply a highlight to the tie and the wash should just be visible as the shading on the tie. With Capri Sunshine Yellow, we'll get the highlights on the tie. Around the knot, I leave a gap in the highlights to separate the knot and the tie loop. And with that, Fat Cat is fully painted and ready to hit the ring and make some deals.